There comes a moment in life when everything feels like it's falling apart. When people misunderstand you, situations turn against you, and your patience runs thin. You feel like screaming, fighting back, or just walking away. But that moment right there is your real test. Because staying calm when everything is peaceful doesn't mean much. The true strength shows when you stay calm in the middle of chaos. Calm is not weakness, it's emotional control in motion. Most people mistake calmness for passivity, as if being calm means you don't care or that you're not strong enough to react. But in reality, calm is one of the highest forms of power a human being can develop. It's not the absence of emotion. It's the mastery of it. Staying calm when things go wrong doesn't mean you're ignoring what's happening. It means you're refusing to let chaos decide how you show up. It means you've learned how to respond with clarity instead of reacting from confusion. Think about how easy it is to lose control when someone provokes you or when life hits you hard. Anyone can yell, panic, or blame. That doesn't take strength. That takes impulse. Real control begins the moment you feel triggered, but choose to pause instead of explode. That pause is where your power lives. It's the gap between emotion and reaction, and in that gap, you get to decide who you want to be. When you can stay centered in that space, no matter how loud the world becomes, you become unshakable. Calm doesn't come naturally to most people. It's something you build through awareness and discipline. It takes practice to breathe when your mind wants to spiral, to listen when your ego wants to argue, and to observe instead of overreact. That's not weakness. That's advanced emotional intelligence. The calm person is not the one who feels less. It's the one who understands their emotions enough to manage them. The person who stays calm in chaos is not detached. They're deeply aware, grounded, and intentional. They know that reacting emotionally might feel good in the moment, but it often creates more damage in the long run. Calm is not about pretending things don't hurt or that you're okay when you're not. It's about learning how to hold your pain without letting it control you. It's knowing that no matter what's happening around you, you still have the power to choose your response. That choice is what separates power from panic. When you stay calm, you gain clarity, and clarity allows you to make decisions that actually move you forward, instead of keeping you stuck in emotional noise. People who have mastered calmness don't have easier lives. They just handle their storms differently. They've trained themselves to remain steady when everything around them shakes. They understand that reacting emotionally gives away their power, and they refuse to do that. Instead of matching the chaos, they set the tone. Their energy becomes a shield, not a weapon. So the next time you find yourself in a heated moment, remind yourself staying calm isn't giving in. It's leveling up. It's you showing yourself that you're in charge, not your anger, not your fear, not your frustration. 'Cause calm doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you've learned to lead your feelings instead of being led by them. That's not weakness. That's strength in motion. Your reactions define your strength more than your emotions. It's easy to believe that strength is about how much you can take, how loud you can be, or how firmly you can fight back. But true strength isn't measured in your ability to react. It's measured in your ability to stay grounded when everything inside you wants to explode. Life will always give you moments that test you. Someone says something that feels disrespectful, plans fall apart, you get misunderstood, or everything that could go wrong suddenly does. In those moments, your first instinct might be to defend yourself, to react fast, to prove a point. But reacting out of emotion rarely gives you the outcome you want. It gives away your power. When you react, you're letting the situation control you. But when you pause, you control the situation. That pause, those few seconds between what happens and how you respond are where your strength truly lies. It's not about suppressing what you feel. It's about owning it. You can feel anger, disappointment, or frustration and still choose not to let those emotions dictate your next move. That's not weakness. That's mastery. Think about the people who inspire you. The ones who seem unshaken even in chaos. They aren't born calm. They've trained themselves to recognize that reacting emotionally often leads to regret, while responding thoughtfully leads to growth. They understand that strength is not in the punch, it's in the patience. It's not in the argument, it's in the awareness. Every time you react, instantly you hand your peace to the other person. You're saying, you control how I feel. But when you stop, breathe, and choose your response, you reclaim your power. You remind yourself that nobody gets to dictate your emotional state except you. And that's when life starts to change. Because once you learn that control, no insult, no chaos, no disappointment can pull you out of your balance without your permission. Strength doesn't come from being emotionless. It comes from understanding your emotions deeply enough to know how to use them wisely. Anger can teach you where your boundaries are. Frustration can show you what needs to change. Sadness can remind you of what matters most. But you only learn these lessons when you stop reacting long enough to listen. Your reaction is your reputation. People remember not what happened, but how you handled it. Did you stay composed when everything tried to break you? Did you respond with clarity when others lost control? Those moments define your strength far more than any emotional outburst ever could. So the next time life pushes your buttons, remember this. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you react to it. And in that choice between reaction and response is where your real power, your real growth, and your real strength live. Every trigger you experience is not just an annoyance. It's a mirror. It reflects something deeper inside you that needs attention. When someone says something that instantly gets under your skin, or when a situation makes your blood boil, it's not just about what's happening in that moment. It's about what that moment is showing you about yourself. Triggers are emotional indicators. They reveal the wounds, insecurities, or beliefs that still have power over you. And the truth is, you can't grow if you keep avoiding them. You can't master calm if you keep blaming everything outside of you for why you lost it. Think about the last time you felt triggered. Maybe someone dismissed your effort, ignored you, or questioned your worth. You probably felt anger, hurt, or even shame. But if you look closely, those reactions came from something deeper, perhaps a past experience where you felt unseen or unappreciated. That's why triggers are so powerful. They don't just stir up emotion. They expose what you haven't yet healed. The world isn't attacking you. It's showing you what still needs your attention. When you understand this, everything changes. Instead of reacting immediately, you start observing your own reaction. You begin to ask yourself, why did that bother me so much? What did I feel underneath that anger or irritation? This small pause creates awareness, and awareness creates choice. The moment you become aware, you are no longer controlled by the trigger. You start responding with wisdom instead of reacting with emotion. The people who seem calm and unshaken aren't born that way. They've learned to use their triggers as tools for self-standing. Every time they get upset, they don't just push it away or pretend to be fine. They look within. They study their own responses. They learn what parts of themselves still need growth, patience, or compassion. Over time, this builds emotional intelligence, the kind that makes you steady in any storm. You see, calm doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you've developed enough self-awareness to understand what you feel and why. The person who triggers you is actually giving you a lesson. The situation that frustrates you is handing you a mirror. You either react and repeat or reflect and rise. That's the real choice you make every single day. If you can start treating your triggers as teachers, you stop giving them the power to control you. You realize that the only thing you can truly manage is your own inner world. And when you do that, you become stronger, clearer, and more centered. You stop fighting every little thing because you know that nothing outside you can shake what you've stabilized inside. The trigger may still appear, but instead of losing yourself in the reaction, you'll take a breath, recognize the pattern, and handle it with calm understanding. That's how growth happens. Not by avoiding your triggers, but by learning from them until they no longer control you. You can't control people, but you can control your response. That's one of the hardest truths to accept, yet one of the most liberating lessons you'll ever learn. We spend so much time trying to manage the actions, opinions, and emotions of others. We want people to treat us fairly, understand our side, and behave the way we think they should. But the moment you start expecting people to act a certain way, you hand over your peace. The truth is, you can't control how others show up, but you always have full control over how you respond. Every interaction in life gives you a choice to react emotionally or to respond intentionally. A reaction is automatic. It's raw, unfiltered emotion. It's the anger that bursts out when someone disrespects you, or the frustration that takes over when things don't go your way. But a response is conscious. It's calm, measured, and thought through. It comes from self-awareness, not ego. The difference between the two is power. When you react, you give your power away. When you respond, you reclaim it. Think about it. People will provoke you. They'll misunderstand you, lie about you, ignore you, or treat you unfairly. But their behavior says nothing about you. It reveals who they are. Your response, however, reveals who you are. That's where your strength lies. Staying calm doesn't mean you agree with what's happening. It means you refuse to let someone else's chaos drag you down to their level. It's not about pretending you don't feel hurt or angry. It's about choosing not to let those emotions control you. In every heated situation, you have a small window, a few seconds where your brain gives you the chance to decide. That's the pause. That pause is everything. In that moment, you can breathe, assess, and remind yourself, I control me. That pause is where maturity lives. It's where emotional intelligence is built. You may not be able to change what someone said or did, but you can choose the energy you bring next. That choice determines your peace, your reputation, and your mental freedom. When you stop trying to control people, something incredible happens. You free yourself from the constant cycle of disappointment. You stop expecting others to handle things the way you would. You start accepting that people act from their own level of awareness, not yours. And that acceptance doesn't make you passive. It makes you powerful because it shifts your focus from what you can't change to what you can. You stop being a victim of other people's moods, and you become the master of your own. The calm you seek comes from discipline, not luck. It's a decision you make over and over again to not take the bait, to not react to negativity, and to not waste energy on things outside your control. The moment you realize your peace is your responsibility, you stop handing it away so easily. You learn that control doesn't come from changing others. It comes from mastering yourself. And when you can do that, no one can shake you, no matter how hard they try. Breathing and pausing are tools, not cliches. Most people hear that advice, just take a deep breath and roll their eyes. It sounds too simple to matter, but the truth is that single breath can change the entire direction of your reaction, your day, even your life. When everything around you is spinning out of control, that breath is your anchor to the present moment. It's the space between chaos and clarity. When you're angry or stressed, your body goes into survival mode. Your heart rate rises, your thoughts race, and your nervous system prepares for a fight. You're not thinking clearly, you're reacting automatically. But when you take a deep breath and pause, something powerful happens. You interrupt that emotional storm. You create a tiny window of awareness. And in that space, you get your control back. It's not magic, it's biology. A deep breath signals your brain that you're safe, even when your world feels like it's falling apart. It tells your nervous system to slow down, to release the tension, to think before you act. The pause is where strength lives. Most people react too quickly. They speak before thinking, decide before reflecting, and act before understanding. But the pause allows you to step out of that cycle. It's the moment where emotion meets reason. You start to see things as they are, not as your anger or fear wants them to be. You begin to notice that maybe the situation isn't as personal as it feels. Maybe that person's words are a reflection of their pain, not your worth. Maybe this challenge isn't meant to destroy you, but to shape you. And you can't see any of that unless you pause first. Breathing and pausing are not signs of weakness or hesitation. They're proof of self-mastery. Anyone can react. That takes no effort. But to pause, to breathe, to center yourself in the middle of conflict, that's control. That's awareness. That's emotional intelligence in motion. The calmest people aren't the ones who never feel angry. They're the ones who feel it, acknowledge it, and still choose not to be ruled by it. Each time you practice this, you train your brain to respond differently. You're rewiring your emotional habits. At first, it feels uncomfortable. Your body still wants to explode or defend. But over time, you start to notice something incredible. You're no longer driven by impulse. You're driven by choice. You speak slower, think clearer, and handle situations that once overwhelmed you with quiet strength. So the next time someone tests your patience or life throws another storm your way, remember your breath is your first line of defense. Take it, pause, feel the space it creates. Because in that single breath lies the power to shift your energy, your mindset, and your outcome. It's not just air, it's awareness. It's not just a pause, it's your moment of power. And the more you use it, the stronger your calm becomes. Growth happens when you stop reacting and start responding. It sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest lessons life will ever teach you. Most people go through their days on autopilot, reacting to everything that happens. A harsh word, a rude comment, a missed opportunity, a traffic jam, a delay, a rejection. They let their emotions take the driver's seat. But growth begins the moment you pause and realize that you don't have to respond on impulse. You have a choice. That tiny pause between what happens to you and how you choose to deal with it. That's where your power lies. When you react, you're giving control to the situation or the person who triggered you. You're letting external events dictate your internal state. But when you respond, you're taking that control back. You're saying, I decide how I feel, I decide what I do, and I decide who I am in this moment. That's emotional maturity, and it's built, not born. It's something you train through awareness, repetition, and reflection. Every time you catch yourself before reacting, you strengthen that muscle of calm and self-control. Reacting is emotional. Responding is intentional. The difference between the two determines how fast you grow and how strong you become. Anyone can react. That's human nature. But responding requires wisdom, self-awareness, and patience. It means you've learned to recognize your emotional triggers. You know what makes you angry, anxious, or defensive. And instead of letting those emotions control you, you learn to observe them. You start asking yourself, why am I feeling this way? What's this emotion trying to tell me? That awareness turns chaos into clarity. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in the uncomfortable pause where you want to yell, defend, or run. But you don't. You breathe instead. You let the feeling rise and fall without letting it steer your behavior. That's how emotional discipline is born. Every time you do it, you evolve a little more. You become more grounded, more confident, and less reactive to things that once shook you. You stop wasting energy on things you can't control and start focusing on what you can, your response. The truth is, calm doesn't mean you don't feel things. It means you feel everything deeply, but still choose your reaction consciously. You may still get angry or frustrated, but you don't let those emotions make your decisions. You give yourself time to think, to breathe, and to act with purpose. And with each deliberate response, you step closer to the best version of yourself, a version that's stronger, wiser, and harder to shake. That's what growth really looks like. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's quiet, steady, and built moment by moment through your choices. When you stop reacting to life and start responding to it, you stop being a victim of your circumstances and become the author of your peace. And that's when life starts to change. Not because it got easier, but because you got better at handling it. Calm is built through awareness, not suppression. That's one of the hardest lessons to learn when life feels chaotic and you're surrounded by stress, conflict, or noise. Most people think being calm means pretending nothing bothers you. They believe that staying silent or holding everything in is a sign of strength. But that's not calm. That's suppression. And suppression is like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. Eventually, it bursts to the surface with even more force. True calm is not about hiding your emotions. It's about understanding them. Awareness is where real calm begins. When something triggers you, someone says something rude, life takes an unexpected turn, or frustration starts to rise, awareness is the pause between what happens and how you respond. It's the space where you notice what's going on inside you before you let it control you. That's emotional intelligence in motion. You start asking yourself, why am I feeling this way? What part of me feels threatened, disrespected, or afraid right now? Instead of running from the feeling, you face it. Because the more you understand your emotions, the less power they have to control you. Suppression, on the other hand, is like shutting the door on your own feelings. You keep saying, I'm fine, even when you're not. You smile when you want to scream. You push everything down until it hardens into resentment. You might look calm on the outside, but inside your mind is racing. Your chest is tight and your thoughts are tangled in anger or anxiety. That's not peace. That's pressure. And the more you suppress, the more explosive that pressure becomes when life hits hard again. Awareness is different. Awareness gives you room to breathe. It helps you recognize that emotions are temporary visitors, not permanent residents. When you're aware, you can see anger as a signal that something needs attention, not as an identity you have to wear. You realize that calm doesn't mean avoiding conflict. It means approaching it from clarity, not chaos. It means knowing how to speak your truth without losing your balance. The truth is awareness requires courage. It takes strength to sit with discomfort instead of avoiding it. It takes patience to observe your thoughts when every part of you wants to react. But that's how you grow emotionally strong, by staying present with your feelings instead of burying them. Every moment you choose awareness over suppression. You build emotional muscle. You teach your mind that peace isn't the absence of emotion. It's the ability to stay centered while emotions move through you. So the next time you feel that storm inside, don't push it away. Notice it. Name it. Listen to what it's trying to tell you. That's how calm becomes your natural state. Not because life gets easier, but because you get better at understanding yourself. Calm isn't built by avoiding emotion. It's built by becoming aware enough to navigate it with strength, wisdom, and grace. The world tests you to teach you, not to break you. Every challenge, setback, and disappointment that crosses your path carries a lesson that can only be learned through experience. It's easy to believe that the universe is working against you when life feels unfair. But what if it's actually working for you? What if the very things that make you feel like you're falling apart are the same things shaping you into the person you're meant to become? When everything around you starts to crumble, it's not punishment. It's preparation. The universe doesn't test you to destroy you. It tests you to reveal you. It strips away your comfort zones, your illusions, and your false sense of control so you can finally see what you're truly capable of. Pain is not the enemy. Resistance is. When you resist what life is trying to teach you, that pain lingers and repeats itself in different forms until you learn the lesson it carries. Every storm has a purpose. It doesn't arrive to ruin your life, but to clean it. It removes what no longer serves your growth. It challenges your patience, your self-control, your confidence, and your faith. Those moments of testing are not random. They're strategic. They're designed to stretch your limits, sharpen your awareness, and strengthen your calm. Because only through pressure do we discover our depth. When life tests you, it's asking, have you learned to stay calm in the chaos yet? Because calm is not built in comfort. It's built in the storm. You don't master peace in quiet rooms. You master it in noise, in frustration, in loss, and in the face of everything that tries to break your balance. Every situation that shakes you is a silent invitation to grow stronger within. If you can shift your mindset from why is this happening to me to what is this trying to teach me, everything changes. You stop fighting reality and start learning from it. You stop blaming others and start understanding yourself. You begin to see that the test is never about the situation. It's about your reaction to it. The world tests your patience so you can master emotional control. It tests your confidence so you can build self-trust. It tests your peace so you can learn that nothing external should have the power to destroy your inner world. The people who seem unbreakable aren't born that way. They've just learned to see tests as teachers. They've been through chaos, pain, betrayal, and loss. And instead of letting it turn them bitter, they let it turn them better. They understood that calm is not about avoiding the storm. It's about standing tall in the middle of it and saying, this is hard, but it won't define me. So when the world tests you again, and it will, remember, it's not trying to break you. It's refining you. Every trial is a lesson. Every delay is protection. And every painful moment is a push toward your higher strength. You're not being broken down. You're being built,